Hello, and thanks for viewing this training module for the Maine Science Assessment. This module will focus on preparing for assessment administration in the ADAM platform. Let's begin with an overview of the actions that district and school coordinators can take as they prepare for the spring administration of the science assessment. A good first action for both district coordinators and school coordinators is to confirm the existing accounts of other roles that they manage. These include assessment coordinators and technology coordinators. This can be done by logging into the ADAM assessment platform and navigating to the Users section. New accounts for these roles can be created in ADAM, and previous users no longer in these roles can be deleted. Next, review the assessment administration manuals, technology user guides, and other information at the Maine Science Support Desk page. Student data for the spring administration has already been loaded into the ADAM platform, where coordinators can confirm that schools and their students have been rostered. They will use this data to create unique classes and assign students to the class groupings. The system will use the classes data to assign students to test administration sessions and proctor groups, which coordinators can also confirm in ADAM. Instructions for how to create classes can be found in the Rostering training module. Instructions for how to manage proctor groups will be covered later in this module. For students who require accommodations and supports, coordinators will need to ensure that these have been properly assigned to the student ahead of testing. Discussion of how to manage student accommodations and supports is covered in the Accessibility training module. Note that requests for paper or large print test forms can be made through the Request for a Paper-Based Test online form. Requests for Braille should go directly to the Maine Department of Education. Next, we'll talk about the timeline for when different roles will have access to ADAM and when different functions will be available within the platform. For spring 2025, high school administration will have a different timeline from that of grades 5 and 8. In early February, district and school coordinators will gain access to the platform and begin to manage other district and school accounts for which they are responsible. Also in early February, rosters will be available in ADAM, but just for high school, and coordinators will be able to manage classes for high school as well as manage student supports and accommodations for high school students. In late February, test administrations will be available in ADAM for high school, and at this time, coordinators will be able to confirm test assignments and student supports and accommodations at the session level and make additional proctor groups. The assessment window opens for high school on April 2nd. For grades 5 and 8, access to ADAM for coordinators will be in early February, but the student rosters for grades 5 and 8 won't be available until April 2nd. That's when coordinators can manage classes and student supports and accommodations for grades 5 and 8. Early April is also when test administrations will be available for grades 5 and 8, and coordinators will be able to confirm test assignments and student supports and accommodations at the session level, and make additional proctor groups. For spring 2025, the assessment window for grades 5 and 8 opens on May 12th. It's useful to review this roles and permissions table for district and school coordinators. Highlighted here are some of the roles and permissions related to preparing for the assessment administration, including viewing test assignments and test admins, changing student test assignments, viewing and printing test tickets, and viewing and printing roster lists. Before test sessions can be assigned to students, coordinators will need to create classes in the ADAM platform. Detailed instructions for how to create classes can be found in the Rostering training module. Students and their school affiliations will already be available in ADAM when coordinators log into the platform. Coordinators will need to create class groups in ADAM and assign students into these classes. The class groupings are used by the system to assign students into specific test sessions and proctor groups. Next, we will talk about how to confirm the test administrations and proctor groups. To confirm test administrations and proctor groups for your schools and classes, coordinators will need to be logged into the ADAM system and navigate to the Test Management menu on the left side of the home screen. Then choose the Administrations submenu. The administration information can be viewed as admin cards or as a list of admins by toggling the view options at the top of the page. Also at the top of the page are tools to search and filter for specific administrations and to sort the admins by date created or admin starting date and other options. There will be 3 administrations for each grade level, labeled as sessions 1, 2, and 3 for grades 5, 8, and high school. Note that in previous years there was a 4th session with a student questionnaire, which will no longer be administered. Each student will be rostered to only 3 sessions. Each administration card contains action buttons and status indicators to get further detailed information about the students rostered to the session and to access proctoring tools. We will be reviewing these action options in the next few slides of this presentation. Let's look more closely at the options on the admin cards. Click on the 3 dots to expand the Students menu or Proctor Groups menu. This will provide further options to view an on-screen list, export a spreadsheet of information, or print test cards for distribution to students. In the upper right corner, a series of icons indicates the status of roster rescans and other features which will be further explained in the proctoring training module. The purple button with a capital A and a circle provides a quick look at accommodated sessions to see at a glance the number of students assigned to the admin who require an accommodated form delivered as paper, large print, or braille. When you click on the View Students Action menu option, you will be able to interact with a list of the students who are assigned to that administration. The list can be searched and filtered using the tools at the top of the page, where you can search by student name or state identifier, filter sessions by accommodation, and view student lists by regular or accommodated form. When you choose to filter the list of students, you will have options to search by accountability codes, which are used to indicate paper tests, or to filter by accommodation, which includes student accommodations and supports such as text-to-speech, extended time, and small group setting. Proctor groups are subsets of students who are testing together. The system creates default proctor groups based on the classes defined by coordinators within the ADAM platform. The platform also allows for the creation of other types of proctor groups for convenience during assessment administration. Common reasons for setting up these additional proctor groups include cases where small groups of students within a class require testing in a separate location, or need additional time on the test, or for makeup groups of students who missed testing with the rest of their class. In all cases, the additional proctor groups you create keep the students in their assigned classes in ADAM. They are just tracked as a subset with a different test code and a different proctor code and dashboard. Proctor groups can be easily managed as needed through the proctor dashboard, which we will review next. To access the proctor dashboard from the admin cards, click on the 3 dots menu for proctor groups and click on View from the expanded options. A variety of information and options are available to manage proctor groups. In the displayed list of proctor groups, you will see the group name, testing school, and number of students, as well as the test code and proctor code for that group. Once testing is started, the test progress indicator will show a color-coded bar with test completion status. On the right-hand side of the list are the action buttons to view a list of students in the proctor group and to open the proctoring dashboard for this session. To create an additional proctor group, click on the Create Group button. There is also a button for uploading a group via spreadsheet, but this method is not recommended for the Maine Science Assessment. Once you click on the Create Group button, you will be stepped through a series of screens to help you create and configure an additional proctor group. First, you will select your district from the drop-down menu, and then select your school from the drop-down of options presented for your district. Once the district and school are selected, you will be able to add students to this additional proctor group by clicking on the blue plus sign. The next screen will present a list of possible students to add to the group based on the school's enrollment for that grade. You can search for a specific student or filter by student accommodation or support, for example, to create a group of students with text-to-speech or a group with extended time. Add individual students to the group by clicking on the blue plus sign next to their name, or add all the students listed on the page by clicking the Add 10 Students button at the top of the page. This screen shows the expanded drop-down options for filtering students by accommodation or support. When an accommodation or support is selected, the list of students refreshes to display only those students with the selected designation. Add one or more students by clicking the blue plus sign. Don't forget to hit Submit. Once you have created a new additional proctor group, it will appear in the list of proctor groups viewable from the admin card. Remember that proctor groups are defined by test session. The system automatically generates the initial class proctor groups for assessment sessions 1, 2, and 3. If you create additional proctor groups and want the same subset of students to test together for all 3 sessions, you will need to repeat the create group process for each session. From the list of proctor groups, you can click on the Students icon on the right-hand side Actions menu to view the students who are included in the group. Once students have been assigned to sessions and both default proctor groups and additional proctor groups have been established, coordinators will be able to print test cards and proctor group cards to facilitate assessment administration. While test cards will be accessible as soon as admins are available, the Maine Department of Education recommends waiting until closer to the time that the test administration window opens to actually print and distribute test cards, since the enrollments may change and because they contain sensitive information and are considered secure assessment materials. There are several options for print layout for the cards, including 1 per page, 3x6, 2x4, sequential, stacked, and by proctor group title page. As you prepare for the spring administration, it will be useful to review a new process established by the Maine Department of Education for requesting that a student session be unsubmitted. Unsubmitting an assessment session is an action reserved for a small set of scenarios, and it requires approval by the Maine DOE. Unsubmitting an assessment session provides a student access to the same session that they previously started, but that was either accidentally submitted before the test was completed, was disrupted by student illness before the test was completed, was started with the wrong test ticket, or was started with incorrect administration of proper accommodations. Maine DOE has created a flow diagram to assist district coordinators in determining the eligibility of an unsubmit request. Please note that only the district assessment coordinator can make an unsubmission request. This information is available at the Maine Science Support Desk. There are 2 types of unsubmit requests, those for a same-day unsubmit and those for unsubmission on a different day subsequent to the day the test session was started. In cases where the session was accidentally submitted before the student had completed the session, or the session was started without proper accommodations in place, and the student will resume testing on the same day before 1 p.m., then the district assessment coordinator can request a same-day unsubmission by calling the Maine Science Support Desk. By default, all sessions started on a given day are automatically submitted by the system at the end of the testing day if they are not submitted by the student during session. As a result, the resolution of the unsubmit condition may need to occur on a later date after the day the session was started. In such cases, the district assessment coordinator will need to contact the Maine Science Support Desk to obtain approval from the Maine DOE assessment coordinator. In order for unsubmission at a later date to be approved, the date of reopening the test must be before the end of the administration window, and the reason for the unsubmission must meet the criteria. These include that a student logged in as a different student, that the proper accommodations were not provided when the test was started but will be provided upon test reopening, or that the student was impacted by illness and that that student has viewed fewer than 30% of the questions. This information is available in more detail at the Maine Science Support Desk. For more information and assistance, visit the Maine Science Support Desk at mescience.zendesk.com. Here you will find manuals and articles, additional training modules, and the ability to request help. There's a toll-free number and an ability to fill out a form that creates a ticket so that you will be contacted by the help desk. Science Assessment Administration support for SAUs can be obtained from the Maine Department of Education Science Assessment Coordinator and the Maine Science Department of Education resource page. This sort of assistance applies to accommodations, irregularities, and policy questions. You can also contact the Maine Science Support Desk using the toll-free number or do online self-service at mescience.zendesk.com. This kind of assistance includes lockdown browser installation issues, or if the lockdown browser is not working during assessment administration. Also, support for login credentials and login issues, as well as rostering information and support. Thank you for viewing this training module for the Maine Science Assessment.